All right, I have 6 o'clock, so if we could stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started, Julie is unable to be here this evening, so we need to appoint someone to take minutes this evening.
I thought we'd take them and then she transferred.
Oh, that's right. Is the
Yeah.
recorder there, though? You're right. Is the recorder there?
Where is the
two
recorder?
recorders and we need, I need to bring them to her afterwards. So
Right,
whoever
okay.
I can bring them.
All day at home.
Good things that way.
Yep, and my husband came home 10 minutes before he took off.
See you later.
And yeah.
Thanks.
The meeting is on September 7th. What? It's already been called to order. Not to take this started, just so that if she plays it, there's some kind of date line.
Right, and all trustees are in attendance with one vacancy, so. Okay, so the next thing is acceptance of the agenda. So, are there any changes to the agenda? If not,
Mr. President,
yes.
under our rules, let's see, I brought them along. It says that the agenda has to be given prior to the day of the meeting, so I don't think we can attend to property and liability insurance except for discussion. I don't think we can take action according to the rules that we adopted.
I think in this case, I mean, if the council agrees to make an exception to those rules, those are our rules as adopted. So,
Then why have rules if you want to change up every meeting that suits you?
well, and again, in this case, it's because we need to renew our insurance policy no later than the 12th.
I understand that too, David, but I don't understand why this wasn't put on the agenda earlier so we could really study it. I had no time to study this packet today.
It was on the agenda yesterday when it was sent out like that.
I just found it in my mailbox.
Yeah, but 24 hours is not adequate. We've said like the Wednesday before the Tuesday meeting, you know, like 6 days. I mean, because people have plans, so if you find out that there's a new agenda item, if you're going to town that one day, then you are totally unprepared and
Well, I know at our last regular meeting, we had indicated that this was going to be an agenda item at the special meeting.
Oh, I thought it was just for the HDC.
yeah.
No,
it
That's
has
the only
to be
one
for
that I
HDC.
heard.
I'm pretty sure at our last meeting
No,
that we had said that because we had talked about that we had to renew it by the 12th. And that if need be, that we would have MML here to do this. You know, if you wish to
And
defer.
then we suggested talking to Mr. Hanula.
Right.
Mr. Hanala, is it Hanala or Hanala?
Whatever you want to say. Whatever makes you happy.
What have you called yourself? Everyone I went to school with,
Was Hanula.
Susie, Sandy, the teacher, they were all
Honolulu is
Hanalas.
a UP pronunciation, but we grew up till, our teenage years downstate, it was always Hanula. So,
Daniela, then when you
yeah,
got
so
away-
my younger brother says Honolulu because he went to school and grew up here, but I grew up till 10th grade down in Grand Rapids, and then we were moved out to Rapid Bay, you know. So it's just Hanula, Hanula, I answered all of it.
What's your first name?
Mark.
Okay, we'll call you Mark.
Okay, that's good.
Again, if you want to defer, we can set up a special meeting on Monday of next week, because again, we have to approve this prior to the 12th.
I make a motion to accept the agenda with one little caveat. If we were able to get the email on Sunday saying that we're going to have a special meeting, we probably should have got some information on Monday or Tuesday. So maybe next time a little earlier,
Okay.
so it isn't so difficult, but we need to move forward, so I'm making a motion to accept the agenda.
Okay, so there is a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Is there a second?
I'll support.
Okay, so Jim can, okay. There's no further discussion, then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, so we have one, okay, so 5-1, okay. All right. Next petitions from the public, again, limited to 5 minutes. So who would like to address the council this evening? Yes, Nate.
I would like to be able to speak at the HDC spot, and I would like someone from the council to make a motion to set some rules for that. At the last meeting, there was interruptions and disruptions. I think a lot of that can be avoided if the folks that were opposed to my selection would get their case out in front where the council members can hear it, and they each have an allotted time, and then I'm allowed an allotted time to defend my position, and that can cut out all the interruption and disruption.
You know,
I think that would be adequate.
We are only required to give you an opportunity to speak to the council. These meetings tend to drag on, and I find that if you allow people to speak during the course of the meeting, that privilege gets abused.
So I won't have an opportunity to speak at the HDC?
You know, if the council wishes to overrule me, they certainly can.
I don't think it's a matter of overruling, since it was his appointment, and he's an appointed official, just like we're elected or appointed as well, that we should let him talk when we address that
Well,
situation.
he has the opportunity to speak now.
I have the opportunity to speak now? Okay. Last time we left, basically, what our discussion was planning commission. We worked out the DDA, Sandy Johnson. Dave Geisler took over Mihal's term. Sue Bias is the term that I'm taking over. All right? I'm going to make this really short since this is going to be totally unfair. They're going to have all the time they want to talk. I'm not going to have any. I'm sure you're going to allow Jeff and Mr.
5
Green to
minutes.
talk.
5 minutes.
Yeah, well, anyways, 12 minutes, 33 minutes into the meeting on December 20th of 2016, Chris Green, was appointed by this body to be the representative on the planning commission representing the HDC. Each one of you voted on.
You get the building. The village is always me.
It's Bluetooth. I don't have the Wi-Fi here. But I'll take my 5 minutes for you guys to listen to it because it's in the minutes.
All right. Is there a motion to accept the DDA minutes as amended by Jim? Okay. Is there a second? Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, and you also have the HDC minutes in front of you. The two things there are my term on the HDC is ending on December 31st. The HDC voted to reappoint me to the HDC. That still leaves one vacancy on the HDC. And with master plan pending, we thought it was a good idea. Our suggestion was that somebody from the HDC sit on the planning commission as the master plan is developed. And so the HDC recommended that Chris Green, who is the chair of the HDC, also be appointed to the planning commission. So those are the two actions that they're asking the council to make. But before we do that, are there any other questions?
Since I only have 5 minutes this, but all of you know me somewhat here. Some of you have based your opinion of me on rumors and innuendos. My actions stand for myself. You know, I have not lied to you. I have spoke up for my neighbors. I have spoke up for each and every one of you in this room at one time or another. I want nothing but to serve my community. There is nothing in my character, and there has been nothing in my deeds to sway you otherwise. Your personal opinions, Mr. Virginia, you've said this at least 16 times in the last 6 months. We need to leave personalities out of this. I can get things done. I can do the job of a historic district commissioner. That being said, I'm sure my 5 minutes is already up. You guys do what you gotta do. I had a lot more to say, but, you know, evidently, you know, not gonna be able to.
Is there anyone else who, yeah, you, I'm sorry, yes, please.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in on this. I usually don't come to these meetings because, you know, the politics, a lot of it is just horse trouble. And it's sad for me to have to come here, and when I do, just see how people are letting their personal opinions get in the way of how this city is being managed. What I don't understand is how you appoint a person who wants to do the job, who I guess is qualified for the job, and all you do is put your personal feelings in the way and fight him tooth and nail to try to get rid of a person who is trying to do nothing but improve this community for all of us. I've seen this man push people out of snowbanks where nobody else had helped. I've seen it with my own eyes. Can anybody else here say the same?
Me.
Me too.
I helped push somebody once.
Me too. There's been others.
I've been pushed though, but yes.
Thank you.
I have
2
too.
people, 2 women.
3.
But that's over half a century. He probably did it. in
I've
a
seen
shorter
this
time.
man, I've seen him organize and help out a citizen of the community who could not do it because of an operation. Go and organize and go help this person without pay. Actually, it costs him money to do all this. Anybody else in here say that? But yet, all of you, well, maybe not all of you, some of you sit here and just try to think of ways to get rid of the guy. I'd like to get rid of all of them people and get 10 of these guys, because at least he is trying to improve this community, in which I can't see any of you guys trying to do that. All I see is people trying to get rid of people because they don't like them. What's it gonna take for you guys to start working together? Don't get it. Because you guys get nothing done. You hardly get anything done. Because you're just trying to figure out how to get rid of people. How can I get my stuff done? It's not about you guys. It's not about him. It's about us, the community. Just because we all don't pile down here and talk to you guys doesn't mean we're not watching. Why don't you start working together? This is what I don't get. Can you explain to me why? That's all I want to know. That's all I have to say, really. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to address the council? No? Okay. All right. Then if we can move on, the first item on the agenda is related to the property and liability insurance. You have a revised comparison sheet between the proposal from the MML and from, is it called Michigan Township Participating Plan? Is that, okay?
That's the long name.
Okay.
We just call it the PAR plan for short.
Okay, Parkland, okay.
The PAR plan, PAR, P-A-R plan.
Oh, okay.
We drop all that stuff off.
Okay.
Can you just give us a summary of what your package entails for us?
Okay, we've had your account for the last 27 years, and the PAR plan is a program that's been, continuously evolving. It started in 1985, and it's made up of municipal officials that are on the board of directors. Right up here, Paul Lako is our zone director up here on this program. So if you ever have a question with me, or I didn't do something for you, you can have Paul, he'll boot you or something. But our proposal is, what I've done is, I tried to mirror what the league is. I've been against the league so many times. I know they don't write aggregates, so I can take the aggregates out on the liabilities. You just have a $4 million aggregate on the liabilities. That means you just have you have 2 million occurrence, means you can have $2 million claims in 1 year. Now, we took it out. Now there's no aggregates. You can have up to $2 million claims, but you probably won't be getting a renewal the next year if you do that. So, but the aggregates, sometimes are a big deal. Our competitors make a big deal about it, but it's just a tool for our actuaries to put an end number on the maximum exposure of the program. But we can take them out, which I did for you guys, and kind of mirror what you're having now. And both these programs are good programs. So I have higher limits in certain areas, they have some limits and higher limits in other areas. It's just all what you really need.
For litigation,
Litigation,
do you cover attorney fees?
yes we do. We're working on that litigation for you right now. That's the, we're not gonna go into it.
Does it go to any dollar amount, or is there a cap on it?
All liabilities are outside, the defense costs are outside the program, or outside the liability limit. You have a $2 million limit. If for some chance you get a lawsuit where you're awarded $2 million, and attorney fees are going to probably be $500,000-600,000, the attorney fees are paid by us. We pay that $500,000-600,000. Another thing is in the property section, not that we're jumping around here, I'm just trying to pick up highlights at what you do. In the property section, we write ordinance and law. We started that in 2012, on July 1st. Well, 4 days later, we had a apartment fire in a housing commission that's in this program because they're a governmental entity. And, the total claim came up over $3 million, but there was a big thing that they had to remodel, bring it back to 100% up to date to code. That's what ordinance and law is, bringing it back to code. An older building, you have issues with, sprinkler systems, or, so that building they had to put a sprinkler system in it for $350,000 to $500,000, but we paid for that for them. That was an extra coverage that we picked up for. So there's a lot of extras in this program. I'm trying to go fast because I don't want to take a lot of time. Another one is your fire trucks. Say we got one with $150,000 on it right now, and it gets totaled tonight, totaled it out. But the truck you need that'll fit the bill for the same thing that you had with the no remodel was going to cost you $200,000, or say it's going to cost you $175,000. Well, we can sell you after the total loss, 25% of that $150,000. What is that? What, $37,500? So we can sell you another $37,500 worth of coverage for that vehicle that's totaled at the going rate that we charge you at the policy period. So we just had one happen in Altrain Township where I sold $32,500, and the premium for that was an extra $81. So the firemen are really happy. Just don't tell the firemen about this. It could be some.
Let's see, I see under total number of vehicles, dump trucks, 4, didn't we sell 2? Do we only have 2? Do you review our policy annually?
Every year.
And if we sell some of the vehicles, are we supposed to contact you?
We updated this, I updated this with Joe, yeah.
When-
Most of the time, everyone, all in the past, everyone, your clerks,
We don't have 4 dump trucks now.
where do you see 4?
Yeah, there's some issues about this.
On page 10,
Well, did we ask Steve how much equipment we have? Did we have Steve over this list to make sure that it's correct?
We updated the,
No, because we did sell some equipment.
Yeah.
Also on the property thing, we did sell the King Lever building, and I see that's still listed as an insured item.
I had a few questions on the bonds too. why there's only a $10,000 bond on our clerk.
What's the pain word was it?
I think that
It would
is
be 303.
303 Fifth Street building. That building was
Something like
sold
that.
last December? Last year? And that's still listed there. So that should be gone.
We'll take that off, that would be $10.
So,
$10?
Well, it's about it's about $1,000 for.
but you shouldn't be on there.
Yeah, no, I need to
How
know
much
that,
for each vehicle?
that's why we have these reviews, I'm going to another one tonight. I send all this information in, and normally we get it all straightened out before I bring it back. but-
When
and it-
does our
and he may have
policy-
he may have told me, Joe may have said take it off there, and it might have been stuck in one of my other notes. So, but in the dump trucks, how many of those?
Well, I would
I took
like-
some off.
We only have 2.
I would like you
There's
you
three.
to go
There's
through
three.
this with Steve Kello, because he's our street supervisor, to make sure
Yeah, but one-
that everything listed is correct,
I can
because,
come over and go over with Steve and Joe, I can come up anytime.
yeah, I mean,
No.
because I know we have the police vehicle, but then there's a bunch of dump trucks, 1, 2, 3, 4 dump trucks,
But we have 3.
and then it says,
We may have a fourth.
and then it says 2 pumpers, we have 2 pumper trucks?
There are 4 dump trucks.
There are 4 dumpers for sure, so we
We
did.
got
go
rid
over
of
this
3 of
with
them, we got rid of those 3 that
Okay,
were
so
sold.
this
Yeah.
is correct?
Yeah.
Joe and
Well,
I
that's what I'm
went over
asking, did we go over this?
this. Yeah, Joe and I went over this,
Okay,
Yeah, but
Steve went over it too.
yeah.
okay, and then pickups, 2 pickup trucks?
But when did Steve and all of this happen, if the trustees are just finding out less than 20 hours ago about all that was being done?
Do we have 2 pickup trucks?
Yeah, the fire department has one on loan from the DNR.
Oh.
That we have to pay insurance for. We didn't pay for it, but it's on loan from the DNR.
So it's registered to the DNR? Okay, why are we paying insurance on it? It's registered to the
Because
DNR.
we're using it.
They require you to have liability insurance on it. They used to not require you
I've
to have
never seen
that.
it.
Well, I don't know where it is, but
I don't either.
they used to pay that for you,
Mhm.
but about 15 years ago, they just started, they said, nope, you're gonna use the vehicles, you gotta provide your own liability.
Okay,
So that's what,
didn't know that.
which,
Didn't know it, never seen it.
Let's see.
well, you see, it's item 14, it's a 1986 Chevy D30 pickup DNR.
Yep.
It's liability only, there's no full coverage on it, so.
Is it ever used? I mean, it's just
It's
vehicles.
a brush fire truck, I feel.
Because if it's never used, why do we have it? What do we pay for it? What do we pay yearly for this stuff?
Oh, I'd say about $350, $400 liability charge.
If we're not using it, why are we paying for it? Or are we
We
using
can
it?
ask the fire.
Yeah, fire
We will have to
department,
check with
Yeah.
the fire
Because
department.
I've never seen this thing.
That's easy to take off, we can take that off right under the renewal date, and we'll,
When is our renewal date?
The 12th.
9/12, September 12th.
So the vehicles are good.
When did you notify the village that our renewal was not?
I've been working with them for the last month.
If you take it off,
It's right here.
be damn sure that it doesn't move. I
On this
don't
piece of
wanna-
paper.
Oh, I understand that. It's like, where is it? It's like this unknown thing.
It's part of the township office, because then they lost it about the same time we did.
Oh, so does any, does the township use it? Or does the village use it?
I think it's full of fire hoses, if I'm not mistaken, but the department builds electrical, and then when we lost the garage, they took it over to electrical's office, and that's where it sits.
Well, if they're still, have equipment, they're still using it. I just never heard of it.
See, these are all good questions, but someone has to tell me this stuff so I can take them
Oh,
off.
they have to tell us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I
I
mean,
understand, Verge.
If we have 30 days and 24 went by before we're even finding out about this, and we're supposed to make a decision tonight, 5 days prior, that gives
Well,
us.
we've been your carrier, we've taken care of your claims, we're taking care of one right now with the lawsuit.
I'm not faulting you, I'm just saying communication, we need to get information in a more timely
And,
fashion. so
and I
that-
always have a policy that anybody on this board, if they have a question on the insurance, can call my
Well,
office.
we've never seen it before, so we couldn't have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I send this stuff out, this packet like this every year.
Yeah.
Every year I send
We
this
had this
out.
at our last meeting.
Yeah, but we didn't see
That
the
was
actual
theirs.
policy. to ask
We
them.
had that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, okay, when we're looking at go back to the property schedule, we've got like the village hall, we've got the fire station, things like that. You know, everything seems to be reasonable except for contents. On contents under the village hall, fire station, you've got the building rated at 4.4 million, but contents only $20,000. Is that sufficient?
Okay, we're not picking up the contents of the Calumet players, that's theirs.
Okay, it's just the contents?
The contents that you're looking at under that are your tables, your chairs, your copy machine. Now, your computers are different. The computers are covered under a miscellaneous computer folder up to 100,000, so you got more than enough on the computers.
So it's not police equipment, fire equipment?
No,
No, that's
fire equipment is covered elsewhere under the page 9, no, 10,
10?
yeah, 11.
11?
I don't know what it was. Your fire department equipment is, look on this, down in that block, that square, it says, ancillary equipment fire department, $50,000. Now, lately, I've been telling everyone on a fire department, if you got 15 guys on the department, there's $45,000 in gear right there.
Yeah, that's.
So I've been trying to get everyone to get up, but you gotta realize, we're not here to get your last dollar out of you, we're here to make this affordable for you. And what can you afford, and you gotta talk to your fire chief, is all that equipment in the hall, or in the fire hall? Or do the guys have their turnout gear at home, their radios are at home with them? So, you might not lose the whole 50,000, all of it at one time, but then again, you could. So I've been trying to tell everyone that we need to get these limits up, but it's up to the council on figuring out what they can afford. I can quote a higher fire department, miscellaneous equipment, that's not your trucks. That's your turnout gear, your pagers, your radios, your air packs, and that's a lot of stuff. So I don't know, usually you don't have 15 guys. How many you got, maybe 10?
12? Is it
12?
12?
There's at least 12.
Has anybody talked to the fire department to get a list of what they, what they have over there?
You mean in terms of equipment?
Yes.
No.
Because that might be a good idea.
Yeah.
If they get that after the.
You can have them call me and I can tell them what I need, and then we can just work it out. I'll say, okay, give me some numbers of what you think you have. I'll get some quotes on what the additional cost would be, and then I can send it to the letter form to you guys, send it up here to Joe, and you can send it to you guys to make a decision on. I got decisions being made Monday on half a dozen fire trucks that need to have higher limits on. And your fire trucks, you'll see on a prior page, 2 pages prior, we're looking at the pumper. You got the pumper for $150,000, and you got the Navstar pumper for $227,000. You're not going to buy a brand new fire truck for $227,000. Boot Jack just got a fire truck, and it was $350,000. I mean, it's not that big of a truck. But anyways, but how our policy works, like I said, it's new for old to the policy limits. We'll pay up to $227 to get you into a better truck than what you had, but you can't buy a new one. So, but then again, you can also pick up that 25% of the $227, for a few dollars a premium. We'll sell you an extra 25% of that limit, which would be over $50,000, $55,000, $56,000. So, between $56,000 and $227, that brings you over $275,000. You can get a very good vehicle for that. See, I've done this where when money's tight, I cut at the board's request, I'll cut that down, knock 25% out of the limits, and then try to save them some money on renewal. It drives my underwriter nuts, but that's just the job she has to do.
Well, it might be a good idea to check with the fire department to make sure that they have adequate, and if they think this is adequate, fine. If they think things should be adjusted a little bit, I mean,
Why
we
don't
should
you
really
have the
talk.
fire chief talk to me and I can explain the whole thing to him? Or I can come up and talk to him.
And what's your telephone number?
Should be 296-0069. Yeah, I don't have it on there. Oh, I got the Watts number on there, just local number, just 296-0069. The fire chief probably knows, I think I know the fire chief.
Is the number in the book?
Yeah,
Under Honolulu agency?
yeah. Yeah, and Joe has it.
I have another question about the property schedule information, and it was explained to me that this is the old Parkside building. It's 208 Fifth Street, and its contents only 68,100. Now, that's a privately owned business.
Well,
We have a
no,
historic
no,
easement.
no. The booths and the equipment are essentially subject to a preservation easement. So the village does have a property interest in that building.
So that's,
So if it burns down, you know, and you have no insurance, you get nothing. If it burns down, you have insurance, you get something. So it's a question of whether you want to insure that or not, but you have a property interest in the Parkside building.
So-
Well, the
Pay $30,000 for it.
Parkside Contents, right?
Right.
yeah.
Contents only.
Not the building, just
Not the
contents
building.
only. That's where you're at, see zero under the building.
So the building
60.
owner owns the building, but we control the contents? of that?
Yes.
So they can't sell the contents?
No,
No, okay.
like on Shoebies, we have 2 historic easements in the
Okay,
village.
why don't we have that insured on here then?
Isn't Shoebies on here?
Nope.
Well, we have the same type of agreement with Shoebies.
How much does the village own shoes?
Well, it's on
Barn
the
back
canopy.
barn.
The bar and back bar, what's the value of that? I mean, that's something
That
that.
would be a tough one.
Yeah.
It's canopy.
Yeah, see, stuff like that, and, you know, historical buildings and stuff like that, they're hard to insure, you gotta have an appraisal and a
It's
value.
hard to insure because typically you look at replacement costs when you're insuring. So how in the hell do you replace the barn?
No, it's gone.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
same
but
thing
I mean,
with
if we
those
have
rules,
one
it's the
on,
same scenario.
on one easement, we should have it on both.
I think that one on here is more tables and stuff and, or contents like that, not a big expensive back bar. We can put shoebies on here, we can put that historical easement on here, that's not a problem. But it's just, need appraisal on that back bar, we can throw a number on it, but,
Yeah.
you know.
You need an appraisal, so
Bring your premium.
so suppose it comes in at 400,000 because it's sitting, can you insure it for less than what it's worth and when we go up to the limits?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah, we'll sure for less.
Okay.
I mean, it's a number that you guys are gonna end up choosing and feel comfortable with. Cause you know, any one of these buildings up there gets a spark in them, they're gonna go down.
Yeah.
You know, that's this building here, this building here is a, 404 million. You're really not gonna get a building like this for 404 million. You
No.
probably need double that. But then as this building goes down, you're not gonna build 16-foot ceilings, are you? You're not gonna, are you gonna have something as a council you gotta think on, what's the long term? Are you gonna have, the Calumet Theater portion? Or are you just gonna come in here and put a nice fire hall, fire garage, fire hall, police station, in a village offices and everything on one floor? You could get a heck of a building for 4.4 million.
And I agree a little bit with Peggy said, like, okay, that canopy, I don't know how you'd ever do that, that thing is Tiffany,
Yeah.
whatever. But then when you get back to the Parkside building, we're insuring stuff that's very historic and whatever, but if it burns, it means nothing. I mean, we get some money, but it's still the
You
historic.
get extra cash value at the time of loss.
So what it boils down to is this, if it burned down, the village would live, if it had no insurance whatsoever. But if you pay a premium, you get some money, so what would you rather do, pay the premium and get some money, or to say the hell with it, and not pay the premium, not insured?
I just want to know what the practicality is, because you're not, if it burns, you're not
Well,
going to
say
say.
the back bar,
That's the-
could
that's
we
the
get a different
premise.
back bar if we had that insured? Wouldn't that be as worthy?
Let me tell you, that's 68,000, maybe costing you $75
For the year,
for the year.
okay?
The property, the fire insurance portion is not that expensive.
Okay.
Now, we can always fine tune these at every time. I looked at this morning, today when I was looking at your file here, and I go, what is that? I'm just, because that was done when my dad was still here.
I think we'd have to realize something out of either historic easement because we paid money for both of those easements.
I can't remember what happened, there was some
Yeah.
consideration for a shooting, but that's so long ago.
So then we should
But
get,
wasn't that because
they would not be able to sell that back bar. It was to protect that,
That's right.
the bar
It's the
and the canopy to stay in the building.
And then
I don't think we
Parkside
did it
thing. Yes,
for the
we
dollar amount.
So,
It's just to keep it in our village and whoever was owning the bar at the time to
So
not sell it.
as a practical matter, let's say an appraiser says, gee, it's worth at least 200,000, it could be worth more than that. So Mr. Hunela is saying, well, you decide you're going to insure it for 200,000, and the premium is going to be for 200,000 roughly.
250, maybe 300 at the most. But of course,
Yeah.
you know.
So do you want to pay 250 or 300 to insure the back bar for 200,000, or you want to take your chances?
Well, the
You know, okay, let's come at this a different angle. If that building goes down, what are you gonna do? I'm sure the bar owner's not gonna rebuild.
No, the same thing goes with the park site. If it
Yeah.
goes down, it's down.
No one's,
But-
it's just gonna be another vacant lot.
Right, but that only covers fire, it does not cover water damage, anything like that, because that's more likely to have a roof cave in than it is to have a fire there.
Water's part of it,
Water's part of it.
due to a covered causal loss.
Okay.
Now, if the roof damage, a tornado comes through, or high snows and build up and damage the roof and it leaks down, usually you're gonna catch that before your wood gets damaged too far. But then again, you have to understand, since you're not gonna rebuild it, you're not gonna get replacement costs for it. You're only gonna get actual cash value at the time of loss. Now, what is the actual cash value at the time of loss? You know,
So you have to prove that.
so you'd have to say, if the appraisal says $200,000 to replace it, what's the actual cash value? That might be the actual cash value of selling the shooty building, which can't be that much because usually these bars around here, nobody can get rid of them.
So what you really need to do in order to prove what you're entitled to by way of compensation if the bar and back bar were destroyed, it would be a good idea to send somebody in with a video camera or whatever, and take pictures of it, get it appraised, make a file on it so that if it were destroyed, you'd have some evidence remaining as to what its value is. If you've got no evidence, then you're gonna be disputing with the insurance company
Oh,
how
yeah.
much of the loss was that you sustained. So
Could,
and that's true. I mean, if you've got stuff in your house and you've got.
You gotta have proof of loss.
Yeah, so
right, couldn't we insure it for the same amount as the Fifth Street property, knowing full well that we get pennies on the dollar if either one was destroyed?
I have another question and another angle here.
Sure.
Do you own that back bar? Or does the owner of the building still own it?
we own the bar and back bar.
No, an easement is only,
No, actually, I drew the documents on that years ago, that on the park side, what you've got is a right to say no. They can't move the stuff, they can't sell the stuff or whatever. So you have a property interest in the sense that you can veto what they do with it. But in the case of the bar and the back bar, the village actually owns the back bar and the back bar.
and we give them like $100,000.
And the bar and the back bar, the canopy, yeah, actually owns.
So how did the Parkside private owners agree to letting us, I mean, how did this happen?
Well, they wanted $30,000, and the village council at that time wanted to be sure that the stuff that was in there wasn't moved away or whatever. So when an easement like that, you don't own the fee to the property, but you own an interest in it. You have a right to say what happens to it, what's done with it, et cetera, et cetera. So a preservation easement is different from actual ownership.
So what did we pay for that preservation?
$30,000.
For the,
And it was grant money. It was grant money. It was 100% grant money.
I thought it was like 35,000.
My recollection is it was 30. It's, the document is recorded at the county courthouse.
Does anybody have an inventory of what is yours over there? That's something that you should need because,
Yeah.
like I said, if a fire burst, you have one, so.
Well, the conservation easement states exactly what.
Oh, it does.
It's a multi-page document.
Okay, then it states it, then, you know, we can insure it if you want, or we can take it off if you want.
can I ask you you this question, maybe it's a stupid question, but the people that own Shooty's Bar, even though we have an interest in easement into the bar back or in the
You
canopy,
don't have, you have more than easement, you own it.
you own it. So do they have to carry insurance on the thing because they own the building? Because why would we own something so valuable and not insure it? I don't understand.
He should be required to,
There's an agreement somewhere, I
Yeah.
did one of those agreements years ago, I don't know what's happened.
look at the agreement.
As the,
Normally, I would recommend that he insure the building properly and the back bar properly, and he add the town, the village as an additional insured. As a loss payee, additional insured and loss payee. That way, he's paying the premium on that.
Because we have a, we have a lien holder, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a lien holder.
I think that,
It's more than that, it's more than that. But, see, I lost track of it, I drew a document years back, when, I think about the time of Johnny Larson owned it. So how long ago was it that Johnny Larson owned it?
50 years?
Maybe
Maybe 20.
More like 20 or more, yeah. So I don't know what's happened owner by owner since then. Maybe, is there a document, a new document, every time there's a new owner? there should be
I don't know.
but you have a time frame when you have to go to your other meeting.
Yeah,
That's,
Yeah.
well, I'm here, take the time you need, I'm here, I can come again. I
Now-
can come back up and talk to the fire chief.
You did say Mr. Leto,
Yeah,
is that, do most of the municipalities locally insure with you?
almost every one of them. There's a couple I don't have because the competition gets lucky every once in a while. But I would say 90% of the small municipalities in the UP are in one of my programs. I have several programs. I have this one, I have one for large entities, I have one for fairs and festivals, so I got anywhere from fairs. And this right alone, you got, this Village of Calumet, Village of Lakeland, Village of Lauren, City of Houghton, City of Hancock, all the townships, Calumet Charter, Osceola, everyone around you is in this program. We've been very successful with it. We started off in '85 with it, and it's grown to be, a pretty good sized program statewide. And that's why everyone's coming out, and they always try to, they shoot numbers at us, trying to come in and take our business. But, competition is good. It drives the premium down for you guys. And when you do that, it gives me the bullets I need to take a hammer to my underwriter and make her reasonable. And I got a really pretty good, these guys have been, they're all for doing the job for you at an inexpensive price. So we can take care of it. We also have, we have dividends. We come out, you got over $1,400, almost $1,500 in dividends. It's on my cover letter in the front page.
Can I ask you a question about that? That was 11, 12, and 13, you got dividends. How come
Okay.
in 17 when we're getting it?
Okay, this is how it works. You have to clear the claims off the books so you can they calculate the total loss, profit loss. So when they do that, and when it shows a profit, we get a percentage of that profit to give back to you guys. So 11, they thought 11 was done, but some of the claims, they settled the big liability suits for a lot less. That freed up some money to give for that year. 12, same thing. And then 13. Now next year, they'll be calculating 14 because most of that will be run off the books, the claims. Claims don't end in the calendar year. The claims payments on large accounts, they take on large claims, they take in lawsuits. The liability end is the one that really drags it because these claims like, the suit, the two guys are involved, it's not gonna be heard till next 2018, so.
So this village got a check for $1,400 and something as opposed to money off the bill, right? So we were sent a check. Did we get a check for $1,400 something?
Well, I'm sure you
For
did.
sure we did.
So
I'm
That's the
sure.
first we're hearing about it.
is your company a mutual company or no?
No.
So when was
No.
it sent?
It says, this cover letter says it was sent in June, that we got a check for $1,400.
Maybe Joe didn't, just as you knew, he didn't really know what it was, but the check
That's
came
a lot of
in.
money.
Well, the check came in here.
Right,
If you can't
understand.
find it in your accounting system somewhere, well, then I'll run it down on our end and see if it was cash. I've had checks with, they didn't know what it was, they threw it in the safe, it's a year later,
Yeah, it
they
says checks
Cash the
were
check.
to you during the month of June.
Yep,
Okay, so we should have gotten it in the month of June, the amount of $1,400.
I'm sure it's in your book somewhere.
Are you affiliated with any, insurance companies that are underwriting Texas or Florida
No,
properties?
no.
No, okay. so-
But HCC, Public Risk, HCC is Houston Casualty Company. They probably got a little damage to their building, but they got their own insurance for that.
Can I ask you one last question? On the very first page, you crossed off a bunch of like the aggregate limit, you crossed them off and put zeros.
I crossed it.
You crossed them
I
off?
crossed it.
Okay, he crossed these up. So now we're getting a better deal on stuff. We don't have any limits on all this stuff, right? So it's a better deal for us? So how, okay, maybe this is another dumb question, but since we're getting all these zeros and they're taking away limits, how the heck were you able to go down almost $6,000?
Competition.
Okay, so as soon as we got competition.
It's market driven. It's not soon as, it's just that lately, we get, the competition's popping their head up everywhere. I can get them premiums down. Every year when I work on your account, I hammer the underwriter for going, give them a break. These are small municipalities in UP. And I've been bringing the premium down, but they're not giving me that big bump break that I think you deserve.
Okay, and I'm not saying anything against you, but initially it was 25,000, but because we had competition this year, that came in at 21 something, all of a sudden magically you were able to bring that down $6,000.
It didn't matter, it was no magic involved.
I know, but why wasn't it down $6,000 before that?
Because the market didn't bear it. This is market driven. We have to collect, we know what we need to collect each and every year to cover the losses and to make the program work.
So we're getting a better deal for less
Yep.
money.
Because I don't want
Because
to
we
lose
have
you.
competition. There's what I wanted you to say right there. You don't want to lose.
I don't want to lose you,
Okay,
but it's not my decision, you see.
I understand.
All I can do is take the information I have and battle for you. I'm not working, I work for the company, but I'm a subcontractor. They don't pay my paycheck.
I
They don't pay
understand.
my health care. They don't pay any of it. I have to work, I work for you guys. I consider each account my boss, and if they need something, I get to do my damnedest to get it for them.
If you take economics 101, any market economy is supply and demand.
Yeah.
So if there's lots of supply out there, prices come down. If the supply suddenly
Makes sense.
evaporates,
Makes
prices go
good
up.
sense.
So-
It's true whether you're
So
selling.
we should every single year put the word out there, we need a little competition so Honolulu's prices will go down. That's what we need to do every single year.
Well, it's not gonna happen, because I'm going back to one that I walked away from 7 years ago, because every other year they were bidding on me and exchange it for $50, and they're going to someone else. So the one year I have them, they got a $25,000 loss in the sewer field for all the controls and everything. For next year, for $50, they go to somebody else. There's no continuity of coverage. So they don't have a claim that year, so the next year I go in there, $25 under him, and I get it back.
I know what you're saying.
So, and then I get a $25,000 claim in the sewer field again. So that, after that happens a few times to you, if you're gonna be a loyal account, I'm gonna get you the best price every year I can get. If you're gonna be an account that's gonna bid every year and jump around, that's fine too, but I probably won't be coming back too many times after that. Because I got other accounts that get me to do their stuff for me. Another thing is, we also have the right now, we got this premium pretty low, we can lock this in for a 3-year rate. The rates we got on this one, we can lock it for 3 years. Nobody else can do that. We're the most flexible guys out there, and what we have to do with the market over there and what happens.
So
I'm
you're
really
keeping
glad
up
you
with your
came
homework,
tonight.
Mark.
Pardon?
You're keeping up with your homework. You're doing good with your
Because
competition.
insurance is one of those things where they send you pages and pages of stuff, and the bottom line is pay the bill, okay? And most people don't understand it, they don't
That's why I'm here, to ask
That's why
you.
you're here, that's why I'm asking my incredibly stupid questions, I don't understand it.
That's okay, Rich.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Mark. The only real difference I see other than we gain is the deductibles. Most of theirs are $250 and you've got it at $500. What were our deductibles in previous years?
500.
$500.
We found that,
No, I'm not disputing that. $500 is pretty common. I just was
yeah,
thinking through
it jumped up to 500. some are doing 250 to get their foot in the door, and there's dangling a little cheese out there for you, saying, but how many, you know, if we're $1,400-$1,500 under them, how many 250 deductibles you're gonna have? Look at your losses in a year, you normally don't have that many losses, unless someone keeps hitting the light bulb.
No, I was expecting you to say they were 500, I was surprised that they came through with 250, because that's normally,
Yeah, the normal, the marketplace is 250 now. You know, unless, you've had a lot of, issues with these historical light poles, and drove me crazy, trying to get them sorted out, and, you know, get these things, the claims paid in the past on them.
What historical light poles, are we talking the new ones we put in
No, the
20
Fifth
years
Street,
ago?
Fifth Street,
Those
yeah.
are
And
considered
I have to
historical?
say, the agency really went to bat. You really went to bat for the village on
Well,
those, but they were hit by snow plows.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, we tried.
No, you really did.
Fire hall.
It was trying to get
Yeah.
the vendor to realize you have to detail for each pole, because each pole is a separate incident. But we're just charging one deductible for all of them, you know. Well, we gotta know what each pole is gonna cost. Once we got that, it was
If
easy.
our policy were to expire on the 12th, is there 20 or 30-day grace period?
No.
There is no grace period. None?
No, I mean, I can't, as soon as they do that, I'll be getting nailed with a huge claim, you know, it's just one of those things.
Can I ask
Might
a
be a
question?
grace period on the premium, but you have to commit to.
Yeah.
To the policy.
You've got on your, okay, the other people, the MML, they have for ornamental trees, shrubs, plants, blah, blah, it's $5,000. But on yours, it has golf course, which is $100,000.
Okay, you know, let me explain it this way, you know when you buy your homeowners, you got your homeowners, your building, you got your pertinent private structures, and you got your liability coverage, and then you got your loss of use, it comes on that form, that's the same thing, you're not paying for golf course greens. All that stuff on that form, you're not paying for that, that's extra, unless we put a higher limit on it.
So that's just included.
That's base stuff included to make the program, instead of we have some accounts with golf course greens, keep an account. We got a lot of golf course greens. But, you know, that's, it's just it's like right now, we're giving you $100,000 in computer coverage, there's no charge for that. If I break the premium down, there's no charge for that. You're getting $100,000 in prime coverage, no deductibles on either one of those, no charge for that. That's the base program. And this is over the years, as an agent, we've got with the company and said, we need to do these things to improve our program and grow with the market. And this is what we've tried to do for you.
Okay, because looking at this, we don't, at least I'm just speaking for myself,
Yeah.
I don't understand what's included, what's not, what we need.
Everything,
You know.
everything above that premium on the last page is all above included.
Okay.
The only thing I broke out is the cyber liability, because most people don't even understand what cyber liability is. And that's the stuff that, if the data that you're responsible for, personal and private data that you're responsible for, is hacked or stolen, then there could be a claim. Nobody really knows what those claims are gonna be. And well, another one of cyber liability would be if you are hacked and you get a virus and they're holding you hostage.
Right.
So, but I put that quote in there, and we're writing $1 million limit, and I don't think the league writes $1 million limit. I think it's more like 50,000, 100, with 100 aggregate, 100,000 aggregate. So that's the decision. If you want the cyber liability, I can do it. You know, I just want to no.
I don't know. We could get crazy with this stuff.
But in the future, we've been pushing the whole office and everyone in the company to get a cyber liability in the package, just like what you have. So in the future, we're probably going to have it in there for next to nothing. You know, a base limit of maybe 250, 300, 100,000 or so.
Could you explain what position bonds are?
Oh, this is good.
It is
All right.
good? Oh, good.
Yeah, this is good.
Because we need that.
Okay, you mean the treasurer, the controller?
Yeah.
We don't have a controller.
Okay.
I don't know which one. Where is it? It's on the bottom of the second page, very bottom. It says position bonds.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It's on page
Two
5.
of your,
Well, the one sheet you got is.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, the public official bonds are bonds for specific positions, treasurer, controller, president, and clerk. All right, these bonds, the difference, you see above them there, it says employee dishonesty bond, up under crime. The employee dishonesty bond covers all employees that handle money in the village. That's a $100,000 limit. You know, others don't write that high of a limit.
Is this a misprint here where it says deposit forgery is 10,000, or is that supposed to be 100 and the rest of them?
The deposit forgery is 100,000. On the renewal, I changed, that was 10,000 and I didn't understand why, because this 100,000, this is something we got for, as part of the program for free, but they didn't include the forgery. So I upped the forgery, I'm upping the forgery on every one instead of leaving it at 10 grand, I'm putting it up to 100,000. See, it's 100,000.
Yeah, so it should be 100,000, because that's not on this.
But these bonds are embezzlement. That's the way to say that. But there's another component to the bond that you maybe don't realize. That's faithful performance of duties. Now, I had a township clerk that took my reviews every year, put them in the file cabinet, didn't show nobody my reviews. And that was the only thing he wasn't doing. He didn't sign up and pay his taxes or his 941s properly. He didn't file his 941s. So the next thing the township hears about it, if it was a township, is that they had their bank account frozen by the IRS. All right, they had a $9,800 penalty, and the tax was like $210. So I didn't think it was covered, but I said, let's turn it in anyways, because it's a huge penalty. So I turned it in under these public official bonds, these limits here, you know, for the 50,000. And we end up paying the $9,800 penalty, but not the tax or interest. So these are something that, you know, I even learned something new after 30 years. So there's always stuff to learn new, and you're not gonna get through all of it tonight, it's gonna confuse you. But if you ever got a question, you look at my stuff and whatever, you can call me at my office, anybody can
The
call me.
question right now is why is there only 10,000 on the clerk who, as outlined in our General Law Act, has all the liability and the controller has none?
We can switch
We
that.
don't have a controller. That's tiny.
That's what these meetings bring out.
It
We
should
can
be
drop the
administrator.
50 for the controller
If that's
to
the
the clerk.
contract he signed as an administrator.
administrator.
Yeah, because we don't have.
And the clerk should be 50,000
We can do that.
as well.
It's the controller and the administrator, you know, who are handling all the money, and the clerk typically is not, so the exposure to, you know, money taken surreptitiously or whatever, or is, much greater for the people who are in the office, you know.
What does it cost for a $50,000 bond versus a 10 on a?
Well, the 10's not costing anything because you get 3 bonds for certain limits for free, and that's a $10,000 limit. So I could, the rate's like $3.20 a thousand, or say $5 a thousand. So you're going up 40,000. So what's that? $200. But that's a 3-year bond. So it's $200 for 3 years.
Does the clerk handle money?
No, the clerk by charter should handle all the money,
Well,
and there could be
we're getting
a
into
slew
a-
of.
But as of right now,
That
as of right now, she does not handle money.
But as of right now, if there was a lawsuit, it would be the clerk that's named.
Is she filing the 941s?
No, the bonds,
No.
It says,
the bonds, again, are for faithful performance of individuals, and if they, take money that they shouldn't or what have you, then the insurance company comes in and reimburses the village, and the insurance company, then has the action against the individual. They're usually not collectible, but anybody who takes.
Bonds pay upon conviction, he's 99% right. Bonds pay upon conviction of the individual that stole the money. Right now, I have $1 million plus loss going on in the West End where the treasurer was taking the money and kiting it from fund to fund. I mean, whenever time something came up, when you guys are looking at one of the funds, the treasurer would shift all the money to that fund, so it looked good, healthy. And then because she never bring all the stuff at the same time in the same meeting. So she's not gone through court yet, so this is a legend. So anyways, she's in the township, and I've been trying to get these bonds up for her. It was $25,000 on the treasurer, $100,000 blanket bond. Our blanket bond at $100,000 is above these $50,000 and $10,000. So really, it's $150,000. It's $110,000. So it's not just 10. That's why I didn't get out earlier. So anyways, with this bond, the state police have to come in and do a forensic audit. We send a forensic auditor, and then we, when she goes to court and gets prosecuted, and then she has to pay back the township and us. What the township's not reimbursed by us, she has to pay back the township. What we pay the township, we put a lien on her. She'll never get out of debt. I mean, that's, why would she? I don't understand people like that. But anyways, and then she turned around and sued the township for defamation of character. So it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to end up, people are going to sue you for anything. And this is why, we have very good attorneys. We've had attorneys that have been with us for the last 30 years, worked with us, grew with the program. We have risk control that comes out and helps you out, or we got resource material if you need something, rental agreements or anything like this. We've been doing this a long time. We feel we do a very good job.
How come the trustees aren't covered at all?
They don't have any money. They don't get your money.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we don't
I mean,
do that.
from bonds, I mean, if the trustee.
Blanket bond will cover you.
I mean,
You don't need a separate
trustees
bond.
aren't writing checks, there's very little exposure that the
Yeah.
village has got by way of risk, that trustees are gonna run away with village money.
I would like
Same thing with the clerk.
all 4 bonds to be at 50,000 instead of just 3 of the 4.
Sure.
Those are the
But wait a
ones that
second.
handle money or should or could.
I'm gonna add a little caveat to that. I think that it should remain the same, but if it because right now our clerk is not handling money, but if it ever becomes a time where she is handling money, then we can call you at your number and say we need to up this. But right now, she doesn't handle money because she has limited, she has
Yeah, but
no
if
exposure.
she's supposed to and somebody.
But she isn't.
But she is.
sues her,
But she is,
because she should be.
Uh,
If she isn't, it should
You
be
know,
bonded.
hey,
Yeah.
she isn't.
You should own a Cadillac and you own a flivver, So do you insure as though the flivver were a Cadillac because you should own a Cadillac? No,
There's
How
a,
about Lamborghini?
there's a point, and it's like, with the fire department equipment and stuff too. You could be insurance poor. We're not looking to do that for you. We're looking to make you get back into business. Like the firemen, if they lose the haul, we want to be able to get them back up and running within a few months, less than a month.
Do you have any memory, have you talked to the fire department in recent years? Because I know in recent years they've acquired some new, better equipment, like
Okay,
the Scott airbags.
this is another thing that,
So that's the only issue I have, is just talk to them, and if
Yeah.
they're good with it, fine, if they're not, fine.
on page
I think we need to.
4 of 6, sure it might be.
Yeah.
You see, all,
What page now?
4 or 6, I gotta say.
4 or 6?
Same thing.
4 or 6, okay.
All right. Ancillary equipment under the inland marine, $50,000. Okay, that's not enough. I feel we should have more, but we will pay up to $25,000 for any one item that don't have to be scheduled. When they buy equipment that's over $25,000, you need to call us because we need to schedule it. But we automatically cover that right away, even if you don't call us, because I've had it where we got this and we lost it in a car wreck or a fire. Well,
Because everything's expensive.
yeah.
So it would be okay with you just have
Yeah.
somebody from the village contacts the fire chief and you call
Have them
and
call
say
me, then we discuss the time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
see
mean,
if, and explain what we have on the equipment and if he's.
I explain what I need from him, and
Yeah.
as a fire chief, they need
Yeah.
to know what they have.
Right.
Yeah, we can do that, and then we can come up with higher limits and then quote the premium, and then you guys can make a decision on it.
Well,
Because it's something this is what I like to do at every meeting. I go all over the UP in we're always increasing limits because someone forgets to tell us about something. I had one of them portable restrooms. You know, that was about $30,000. Well, they didn't tell me about it, and someone went in there and burnt it down because of vandalism. So, they know I do this, but I shot the endorsement in before I shot the claim in. I got it covered for them. This is the little extra things that, I'm not your street corner agent, there's things I got a little more leeway to do things. Because we started when this program started, so we kind of all grew together. Now with the new people in the home office, they're wondering what rates, I actually tell them on the fares, don't charge $500, charge $250, you know. But, you know, that's what's being there a long time, one of the old guys, I don't think I'm old, but I'm looking, I'm
So you don't know exactly what cyber liability would entail?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but it's hard to explain. Here's the, for cyber liability,
There's probably a stack of boilerplate on it, a paragraph or 2 or 3. I mean, every.
this is what it looks like.
Okay.
This is what it looks like.
So it's more than a paragraph or 2 or 3.
It's like 10, I haven't even read it all, because I haven't had time. But let me read, I'll just read that paragraph real quick. What is cyber liability insurance? Cyber liability insurance covers is specifically designed to protect a business or an organization from liability claims involving the unauthorized release of information for which the organization has a legal obligation to keep private and confidential. Liability comes from the invasion of privacy or copyright, trademark violations, digital, online, so, well, you don't have that, but there's a whole liability claims alleging failure of computer security, defense costs in the state and federal regulatory proceedings that involve violations of privacy law.
Okay, if I think we need this to the annual premium of $19,074, would you add the 810?
Anytime.
Okay, so you just add that,
Yeah.
and you're saying you can lock in that dollar amount for 3 years?
Yeah, I already added it for you.
Well,
So it's included right now?
but I hate numbers, upwards, okay, that's,
So,
yeah.
yeah, you don't have to take that now, since it's so new, but I wanted to give you the option because the competition was giving you a $50,000, $100,000 limit. I wanted to give you what we can do.
So if
Okay,
we don't buy
I
this,
think we need it.
if we don't buy it and our computer gets like taken over and hostage and we're on our own?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
But so it'd be just a $19,074, you're saving $810. Hey, what's your exposure here? How much privacy information do you have?
Not a hell of a lot.
I was gonna say there's.
Yeah, you're not a hospital, you
We're-
don't have people's social security numbers.
We're not a prime target.
Yeah.
They aren't gonna make a hell of a lot of money hacking the village.
No.
What about the police computer? We have lots of confidential information.
I think the police computer has access to information somewhere else.
I think that our report writing software would be, that's like on a server, open internet world or whatever.
Yeah.
So if we pay for that, and they maintain records.
And because
So
we're
if
adding a
we burn it
website
up, we should
right
go
now,
and leave it and
I
do
think
that.
we don't know what problems we'd have in the future. I'd like the insurance to cover it.
We don't care, do we care about that website? I mean, we care about it, but if it gets hacked, you know,
You're just
we're
gonna
paying.
destroy the website.
The website is just $25 a month and $50 to start it up. We've got no loss there, you can start it
Yeah.
up. That's a nothing.
See, cyber liability, I quoted, but I've sold some, but I'm just now including it with every renewal that I want to be able to know it's offered to you. You don't have to have it, but it's something new.
2 questions. Mr. Hummel and Mr. Tricia, do we need this at this point in our life in this village? What's
Well, you never ask a lawyer if you need insurance or not. The lawyer will always say you do.
Well,
But
I mean, do we need this
I'm a
thing?
little skeptical on cyber, but,
To me, the biggest risk is our accounting system, and Joe, you back that up regularly, correct? Yeah, so if for any reason, to me, that is our biggest risk.
Personally, I don't buy it for my computers. I mean, I'm just,
Yeah, but that policy covered if information is gone and it's.
I don't have people's social security numbers, I have names, address, phone numbers. I don't have personal information that, you know, the main thing is your social security number. I won't take a social security number, I don't want it. Won't have any of that stuff. I used to do healthcare and they used to ask for that, and I don't do healthcare anymore, I don't have time, I just have time for this. This is all I do, day in, day out. So,
Okay.
try to keep you guys straight. That's a joke version.
When it comes to insurance, I'm like a deer in the headlights, that's why I'm asking. And I read it, that was my mistake. I should not have read it, because
No.
I had questions.
When you get questions like that, call me up. I can explain it. So, how is it? Everyone got a idea? You're gonna stay with me or you're gonna jump ship?
Well, here's my concern or my recommendation is, you've been with us for what, 27
This is 27.
years? You treated us good in 27 years, right? Okay? We've had no problems with you in 27 years. That's exactly, you're getting my drift.
Loyalty breeds loyalty.
Yes, loyal, exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm. Good job.
And you showed up tonight.
You showed up.
Which, to me.
I'll come anytime you want me. You just have to let me know. I mean, this week, like I have another meeting, I'll get there and, we'll take care of it when I get there. But if it's not, I'll reschedule. I got meetings every night next week.
Do we need to commit to staying with you when, if there's details?
Well, 3
that-
years is a
that-
good thing for the
that
program
don't-
now, if you ask
You know,
Yeah,
like
we
we wanna
can
take
pay
a
for it.
building off and we
What it
wanna.
boils down to is, you have to commit with an insurer, because the one or the other, because the policy that we're working under right now is about to expire. But once you commit to one, then if you want to make some changes, endorsements, or
You can.
whatever.
They will only make changes at the anniversary dates
Nope.
or at any point?
We can do anything, anytime you want.
Okay,
Okay?
that.
You can call me up and then, if you don't like something that's, you know, how a claim goes, you can holler at me and I'll get to the bottom of it. And I'll try to explain why they did that way, so you understand. The main thing on claims sometimes is, people don't understand, normal wear, tear, deterioration is not covered. And, you know, if you got shingles that blow off a roof, you got 10 shingles that blow off the roof, that's the claim, 10 shingles, not the whole roof. So there's a lot of things I've seen over the years, I know how to explain it to you when you don't understand things. And, you know, I agree, you know, you always want to be paid, you know. I had a guy call me up and said, my wife fell at the bingo hall, Legion Bingo, in the township building, and I says, well, what do you want, sir? He says, I want to be paid, my wife's never going to be the same. And, you know, this is going on right now, I can't this is the second time, he did it at Walmart too.
Easy money. Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do, and we fight these claims till it gets to the point where, you know, it comes down to, at the end, you say, well, you settled for $1,000. You settle for $1,000, or do you pay them $50,000 to win it? It's a business.
But you know, the only problem with that is, and I agree with you, because I've seen lawsuits, and what happens is the paperwork are gonna get this high, and it gets this high, and the attorneys are getting paid too much money, and they say, boom, let's settle. And the problem with that is you're creating an atmosphere
I
for
know.
these people to do this crap
I
over and
don't-
over and over
I
again.
don't like it, but
I don't like it
the
at
guy explained to me in a very firm tone of voice one time at a business meeting, at agents meeting, that we could have won that suit, would have been $75,000, $80,000, had expert witnesses and all work, we would have won. But we would have lost, we would have paid almost to $100,000.
But
We
you
wouldn't
can settle even if you know we are.
But that's why insurance companies don't let you decide that.
That's right, exactly.
Because you're playing with their money, you know? We're making a contract with you for this, what we're proposing, we're gonna do what we tell you to do, you know? But you have obligations too. You need to tell us right away and stuff, you need to give us lawsuits right away, you know? It's a two-way street. I've been doing this 33 years now, just this, municipalities. Well, a lot of other things too, but this is the main thing. So,
Your input was wonderful, very, very helpful and informative.
thank you.
So is there a motion? I don't know if you want to go with or without the cyber liability, but Is there a motion to go with the annual premium of $19,074, or is there a motion to go with an annual premium of $19,884? Or do you want to go with the MML policy? It's,
Joe, is this the insurance that we can go through with the grant on?
Yeah, we have a grant, yeah.
That $2,500 matching grant?
Yeah, what are you going for?
We want to get cameras in the village.
Yeah, I forgot the name.
You know about our grant program?
Yeah, we have a grant, the grant cycle's coming up right now.
11 or October 1?
Yeah, here. Go to this site. We got it. Joe's got this copy of my cover letter, right? Why don't you just call me?
I'll talk, yeah.
Call me, I just won't find it. Yeah,
Yeah, so it talks about the grant program. Yeah.
no, it's on here. You guys have kept me going with questions, you got me
Okay.
going several different ways and
But you were prepared, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
I'm not.
Good answers.
You're not gonna stump me like you did 25, 30 years ago. I mean, I've always been the type of person that if you don't know it, if I don't know it, I'm gonna tell you I don't know it. I'm not gonna blow smoke up your tailpipe. I'm just gonna say, I don't know it, I'll get back to you, and I'll get back to you in writing. But after the amount of time I've been doing this program, and basically we kind of designed it along the way, I know it. So, that's it.
all right, so you have three options, or I guess you can do nothing. It's up to you.
I'll make a motion that we go with the annual premium of 19,074. If we need to add cyber later, we can do so. We can add it to the policy.
Okay, so there's a motion to accept the PAR plan agreement in the amount of $19,074. Is there a second to that motion?
I will second that.
George, you seconded it, okay. And again, because this is a financial commitment, we'll do roll call. So Jim?
Yes.
Are we committing for the 1 year? Or the
3 year.
3 years? 3 years.
3 year.
Okay.
3 year offer.
Good.
All right, so Jim?
Yes.
Okay, Chair?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Verge?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes, but I do believe that we need to tweak that village clerk up to $50,000 bond, and we need to add that cyber liability, like, soon, real soon.
We can talk about that later.
But you can add at any point in time, that has to be added.
Just have to
Or the
answer
amount.
him.
And I'm a yes.
Yeah.
So I need to sign something.
We gotta have signed applications to be compliant with the state. You know, everything's on the computer, so we gotta print this page off and have you sign it. You know how big you get behind, I'm like 150 goes behind.
Are you gonna be able to email or give me the cyber guidelines that I?
You want that whole thing, give me your email.
Sure,
I'll email you that whole thing.
lovely.
And I want you to study it. Study it, and then summarize it for me.
Yeah, oh, I'd be able to, I'm a voracious reader, by the way.
So Joe's just making a copy of that for our files.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say thanks for being loyal to this little jurisdiction.
Oh, you're all-
Thanks for coming, and if you have any questions, we will call you.
Anybody can call me. And I got my system here is gonna summarize what cyber liability is. There'll be a test next month.
Oh, good one. As a retired teacher, I love competing.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thanks, everyone. I hate to like run, but
Run. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
I told them I'm probably gonna be late.
All right, so we,
All right, thank you for your loyalty.
Thanks. Yep.
See you, I gotta run.
Run.
okay, so the second item on the agenda is the HDC appointment. Our ordinance number 140 specifies 5 members of the HDC, all of whom are supposed to be village residents. 2 of those are at-large positions, and then of the other 3 positions, one is to be appointed by the advisory commission, or nominated by the advisory commission, the planning commission, and the DDA. what you have, this is what John Arnold put together based on his records of appointments. But essentially, what this says to me, and based on review of village council meetings we have right now, and this is including Dave Anderson's appointment, we would have 4 at-large positions and only 1 individual appointed by the DDA. 4 of the commissioners would be at-large, and 1 would have been appointed by the DDA. John Arnold's summary says that that appointment was mine. The village council minutes say that appointment was Sandy's, and that's what I remember. So I believe Sandy was appointed by the DDA. So that would mean...
Oh, she definitely is the DDA.
I believe that, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So again, so the issue is we have these 4 at-large commissioners, and
But
how...
the issue goes way back to the ordinance in 2002. If you look at the historic district ordinance 140, I was reviewing it, and it says 5 people reside in the village, and on page 4 it says if a vacancy on the commission occurs within 60 calendar days, the village council shall make an interim appointment to complete the term, because when the ordinance was started, the terms were staggered. If somebody resigned, then they completed that term, so we would continue to have the staggered terms. And then, so that our council did not do what it should have after 60 days, because 2 appointments expired in January. On January 1, Abe Volker and Sue Bice, they were both at large. Our council acted appropriately at the June meeting when, after I recommended Nate Anderson and read the letter as a pro tem, which the General Law Act says the pro tem has all the duties and responsibilities in the absence of the president, because Nate Anderson was appointed on a 4-0 vote approval. He is filling Sue Bice's position. But the ordinance, it's not signed at all, and it needs to be fully executed. And then in 2002, well, when it says there's 5, 2002 it says 3 at large and 1 from the DDA, 1 from the park. Okay, the second ordinance, 2009, it says it's a restatement, and it's not a restatement at all. It says that 1 is from the planning commission. Well, that's not a restatement. It's an amendment, it's a change, so you can't say 1 ordinance is a restatement. And then 213 is not a restatement of 2002, and they both say they're a restatement of the original ordinance. None are executed, none are signed by the village president, they're only signed by Debbie Aubin and the deputy clerk at one point in time. So our ordinance is not correct, and our ordinance committee hasn't met in 5 months, so
That's not true.
our ordinance is not, I know, but we need to address this.
Okay. We can only address what we know.
Okay.
Okay, and here's the problem, Peggy. We've been bombarded with tasks to make decisions, either having inadequate information or not knowing what the heck we're doing. Now, if you got a minute here, I did a little kind of looking into this thing, and I'm not sure all my information is right, but you do have to have only 2 at large, 1 park, 1 planning, 1 DDA, okay? And all the minutes and everything, I've got an email, I've got paperwork here, it looks like Sandy Johnson was appointed by the DDA, and she was reinstated in December of 2016. So Sandy is the DDA appointment, so we can check her off, okay?
Yeah.
The other one is Abe Volker, and Abe Volker was reinstated, and he, in January of 15, so his ends the end of the year. Okay? Of this year, yes.
No, it
Oh, wait a second, no,
January
no,
1,
you're right, it ended on January
2017.
1. I'm sorry, yeah, this is ended, okay?
He's an at-large.
Okay, he's an at-large. Okay, then we've got Dave Geisler, and the information I can see on Dave Geisler is you you originally took the spot of Joseph Mehal, right?
Who was on the park board
Which is-
and Dave is on the
The
park
park
board. So
Right.
Dana even sent an email saying Dave
Well, I have
was.
that. Well, he is the
park
park
rep.
you are the park rep, and you were reinstated back in December of last year. So you should be good, right?
Although I don't believe my name was ever submitted by the advisory commission.
Okay, well, according to the email I have here, it clearly stated that you were, okay, I'll read it to you right here. It says, a question came up about, terms and things like that, and it says here, and this is back, I don't know, when was this? This is a Sudina email. It says that the National Historic Park Advisory Committee, had Joseph Mehal. He resigned,
Right.
and then they nominated you, and you were put in that
Okay,
position.
yeah, and I
Now-
can go check their minutes. I can
Right.
have them check their minutes.
Right, and.
Okay, so I agree with you.
So, and I can't tell you this is correct, because the paperwork is horrible,
Yeah.
but do you have to be reappointed by the park, or do you just get reinstated because you were initially, supported by the park?
I would have to ask the advisory
Well, I would
commission,
say
assume.
if you're in by one,
Right.
you should continue
Right,
with
that's-
that.
That would be my
So,
assumption.
so if we're gonna do that, then we're gonna call Dave Geiser, we're gonna call him the park guy, okay? So we got the DDA and the park guy. Now we have nobody from the planning commission that was put in by the planning commission. That leaves, Mr. Green and, let's see,
Sue Bias and Volker.
So
yes.
who is able, Volker?
Okay, so we got A. Volker, he was an at-large too, so we have 3 at-large, and we can only have 2.
But if you go back to the ordinance, it said 3 open resident seats. The 2009 and the 2013 are not restatements, they were wrong. And none of them are signed, fully executed. It doesn't matter what's put in the paper, if the clerk and president doesn't sign these ordinances, I don't think are valid. I mean,
Okay, well, here's the problem.
guidelines for
Okay, here's the problem,
ordinances.
Peggy. This has been precedent for years and years. Things have been not followed exactly, okay? We can all admit to that, okay? Now let's come because we have a problem and we're trying to do things right, and from this day forward, we want to do things right, correct? So if we're gonna do things correct, there should be 5 people. There should be a park, a DDA, a planning, and 2 at large, okay? In order to accomplish that, we have to determine somehow, or start over, but who is the park person, who is the DDA person, and when their terms end. If we can't do that, we're gonna argue about it for the next
But
month.
Mr. Green is on the planning commission, and so he, by virtue, I thought
No.
was the planning commission rep.
That's not true.
Okay.
That's not true. The planning commission has to give a list to the president, and the president has to look at it. These are the
But
people that.
nobody gave their list
I'm
like
just
they should
telling
have.
you, no, it's not been done.
Yeah.
So what do we want to do? Do we want to clean the slate and start over? What do we want to do? How are we going to fix this? Because we should have, okay, to be honest with you, if I look at all this information here, we had 3 at-large people, which we shouldn't have had. The last task that we had when we nominated Nathan Anderson, we should not have done that, but we should have also known that he had to have been.
We clearly should have, because
No
nobody's, or A. Volker, both those seats were vacant. The president should have appointed somebody in 60 days, and we
didn't,
appointed
Peggy.
6 months later, so that appointment stands, and
Not necessarily,
if we want to get rid of him,
it isn't a matter of
for
being aware of
any
him.
reason, I think we gotta follow the General Law Act. He's been appointed, and so how do you?
He's the senior people who are at large should stay on the HDC. The last person who was improperly appointed because there were already 2 at-large members should not be serving on the HDC.
So that would be Mr. Anderson and Mr. Green. According to when things end.
Well.
And Dave, he wasn't, his didn't come down the pipe the way it should have. And, so there's only one left, and that's Sandy.
So,
But I'm saying the ordinance has not been
so if there are
done correctly.
2 persons serving who've been appointed,
and two who are at large.
Mhm.
Then in June, somebody should have been appointed who was nominated by that entity which had not had an opportunity to make its nomination. And that would- Now, if there was just one person, Sandy, who was serving, and we got 3 at-large members plus Nathan Anderson, then we should go, Nathan Anderson is out, and the least senior of the 2 at-large, of the remaining 3 at-large members is out too.
I disagree. If you really are appointed or elected, you have the same equal
No.
opportunity of all the
Here's the problem,
members.
here's the problem,
All-
Kay. If the council should not have approved you, because by doing it, they were acting contrary to the ordinance and contrary to the law, then that appointment is void.
But
And-
did I not
and-
just
and-
read to you that the ordinance is invalid, but if we're gonna use an ordinance that hasn't been adopted?
Why is it invalid?
Well, it's not signed by the
None of them are,
president.
none of them are.
Well, then, all of those that are unsigned are not in effect.
Well, it's up to the council, but we shouldn't have
But if it says,
more than 2 at-large members, and the
But
most
2002 says
senior
3.
at-large members were appointed at a time when they could be appointed, it was valid to appoint them. The least senior at-large members should not be on the HDC. The least senior, if they're 2 or 1 or whatever, they should be off.
with all due
And-
respect, you're
and-
questioning my right as a pro tem to carry out what I believe the duties of the president that had been neglected, because he was to appoint somebody within 60 days, and he
May I show you this, Mr.
did not.
Bishop?
No,
It doesn't look like the president has to sign it. Here's what was done. It was signed by the clerk.
Okay.
So it says nowhere on there where the president has to sign it.
They're supposed to have 2 blanks.
No,
If you look at the old ones.
The president doesn't have to.
That doesn't have the president,
Yeah.
the clerk signed it. See, Peggy, let me show you. It
Well,
doesn't say in our village ordinance, okay? This is our village ordinance. An ordinance is something that was approved by the village, okay? It is signed by Deborah Oven. It says nowhere, and it has the date, and it has everything
I
on
know,
it.
but you look at the other ordinances, it's
Yeah,
on
but this one does not.
In case, you
Where does it say that?
probably in the,
I don't know where it says that.
I probably could cite the law tomorrow if I have time to look it up again, but let me see. All ordinances are supposed to be signed by the president and the clerk, they're supposed to be published within 15 days, and there should be a space for the signed certificate and date and the
There it
name of the
is.
paper it appeared in.
There's nothing that says that the president has to sign it. It has to have all the
Well, that's just a
information.
sheet of typing, I could have said, nobody
Yeah,
had, no name, nobody had to sign it.
We're-
It's typing.
No, I think this thing was done correctly because it was passed by the village council back in 2013, June 27th.
It can't be correct if it says it's a restatement and you read the one in 2002 and it's not a restatement. How can you say it's correct? Because if the law says a president and a clerk both must sign because you don't let just one person, or you can go haywire in a village if that one person it puts together an ordinance that, and nobody is a check and a balance. I think it's wrong.
The council voted on it, it's the law, so that's the check.
So now we're tasked with, okay, what do we do?
We fix it.
How do we fix it? Not what happened before, this and that, from this day forward, so we don't have to keep, addressing the same stuff over and over again. How do we fix it? So we need some input on how to fix it.
Are you agreed that Sandy is DDA and Dave is advisory commission?
Not if you stated that
If
Park was
that's-
supposed
if
to make
that's
the
the
recommendation
case,
and they didn't.
then you've got 3 at-large members, and the least senior of those members was appointed improperly, that would be Nathan Anderson. On the other hand, if just Sandy is a nominee of one of those 3 entities, then all the others you add together, if you include Nathan Anderson, that's 4. So Nathan Anderson has to go in that case, and then the next least senior person who was appointed by the council improperly because that person was not nominated by one of those 3 entities should go too.
So that would be,
So Nathan for sure, and
I would be the next
no,
least.
yeah, you would be the next, yeah, you would be
Because
the
both
next
Chris
one,
and
right?
Nate have been on one.
And, yeah, that would be, and you know, the fairness to that is if we do that, to try to make it right, okay? Those 2 individuals that we're gonna rescind, they can put their names into either the
advisory commission
or the plan. Now, if Mr. Green doesn't object, I asked for a little input from him on this, and this is what he tells me. On August 15th, he sent me an email and said, and this is what he said. He said, "I have been unable to confirm with the HDC coordinator, John Arnold, but the best I can determine from HDC minutes did not review," and he says, "I did not review the council minutes." This is what he came up by reviewing the HDC minutes. He says, Dave Geiser was reappointed to the HDC in December of 16 as an at-large. Okay? This is according to the minutes and Mr. Green. And then Mr. Green says, "I was reappointed in December of 15 as an at-large. Sandy Johnson was reappointed in December of 15, but as a DDA candidate. Abe Volker was a December 2014 at-large." Now, he expired 14, 15, 16, so he's expired, right? So now we're left with, if we're looking at this, Dave Geiser is an at-large as well. Green, Geiser, and Anderson are at-large, according to the DDA minutes. Is that correct, Mr. Green? As far as you can see? So now we got 3 people that are at-large.
And you would say that the Volker's been expired.
Volker's expired, but Dave Geiser is at-large, Mr. Green is at-large, Nathan Anderson is at-large. Okay, so that's 3 at-large. Sandy Johnson is DDA, right? And then Abe Volker is no longer there because he's expired. So now what we have there are 3 at-large and a DDA. And we now have another opening. So those 3 at-large, we can only have 2 at-large, am I correct?
only 2 at-large.
Okay, so what we have to do is get rid of the last at-large, and now we have 2 openings, and both those openings have to come from, one from planning, one from the park. Am I correct?
That's right.
Okay, so are we willing to do that to make this right and not rehash this thing for the next 6 months?
It's gonna be rehashed.
Okay, well, if you have any other suggestions, let me know, because I'm trying to make things right.
I think the ordinance
I have
committee,
input on this.
I'm sorry, you're not recognized.
Any council member recognize me, parliamentary superior procedure. I just have a little bit of input. This is my freedom of speech here.
Well, freedom of speech is limited.
No, I mean, this is one-sided. You guys are telling
Wait,
one side I
what?
should be able to tell mine. Please, somebody recognize me, anybody. Because if they
I'll
throw me out of here
recognize
for
you.
violating my speech. You recognize me?
yes, but keep it
All
short
right,
anyway.
your premise is absolutely correct. If you look at the HDC minutes, it's off. But if you go to the actual minutes, the council minutes, what the council action was, okay? If you're gonna get rid of anybody, get rid of the whole historic district board and reappoint everybody. I know I won't get reappointed because everybody has to come through Dave. That's why my name hasn't been submitted to you guys before, is because it has to come through Dave. Dave can submit whoever he wants. He's gonna undo this no matter what. So I'm fine with that. I got my 5 minutes here, but this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. Jim Turca is leading you astray. If you want to go by general village law, the historic district commission shouldn't exist because by law they have to take oaths of office. By law. You know, you can't make up the terms like you just did in the DDA. The council decides that. The beginning of the ordinance decides that. Jim is misleading you. He has misled you about the insurance tonight. He has misled you about the evergreen. He is misleading you. Please, I urge you, don't let personalities get into this. If you just do it, if you're going to do it right, I'm not even a valid zoning board administrator. I'm not. Zoning board commissioner. I'm not. I haven't taken an oath of office. I asked for an oath of office. I didn't get one. You go in there, there's a box that's got all the oaths. You know whose names are in there? Yours. That's it. You know why we have the liability on the clerk? Because it is the clerk's responsibility. Don't let him lie to you. You've seen the general law act. Let's do things right. That way I can just maybe calm down a little bit when I come to these meetings. Because we agree on so much, so many times. And this petty hatred you have for me, it's just terrible. You ask people that know me how I am. I'm a really good person. You know, I'm a really good person. Just ask around. Don't be misled by the policies that have gotten us here over the last 30 years under Jim Turka's leadership, basically. When he says it's okay and when it's not okay, and that's what you guys do blindly, this is what happens. That's why our downtown looks like that. That's why the Historic District Commission has no teeth. That's why they're not able to accomplish anything, because if you really fight them, they don't have their ducks in a row. And how do you get your ducks in a row? By accounting. And if you got a guy that spends a month, all February, crunching the numbers to try to make up a $20,000 shortfall in the DDA budget and still gets it wrong, and then you pat him on the back, that's wrong. Let's get this right. Just ban the whole thing.
The point I was starting to make is I'm concerned that the amendments we made in 2009 and 2013, even saying that the third position of planning commission representative was not in the original, and the ordinance is incorrect by saying it's a restatement when it's not. And there were a few other things in it, if you'd like me to look it up right now, but I'm saying after a person has been appointed, if you want to remove somebody who's been appointed, I think we can't just rescind our motion and say we made a mistake. I think we...
Why can't we? We can't.
Because it's
Why
an
can't we, if
appointment.
we made a mistake?
We were given
Why
bad
can't
information.
we
Yes.
rescind what we did?
Yes, we should never have made an appointment with the information we had. We should have had better information and when.
I think after an appointment is made, you need to read the steps in, if you don't want the
But
appointment to
it's different,
stand.
Peggy. It's
No,
different.
it
We
was a
just wanna-
vote of 4-0. You cannot say that vote didn't count, or that he was
We-
voted in. If you don't want him on, then you
I
need
agree with you there,
go
but
through the steps of,
we nominated him with bad information, not knowing that there were gonna be too many at-large people.
But
So in my
everybody-
opinion, we made an invalid appointment, okay? It has nothing to do with getting rid of him for this reason, personalities, nothing. It's like, we were given information that should have had more information saying, this is a guy who wants to be on the Historic Society, but right now we already have 2 at-large or 3 at-large, and, this is for information only, and he should have, we should have addressed it by saying, thank you for your application, but if you want to be on the HDC, you have to petition either the Planning Commission and or the park. But that's what should have happened. So we made an invalid motion mistake, and I want to fix it. I want to
Virginia,
do.
the minutes
You're out
show
of
you
order.
that
You're
the
out of order.
advisory
You are out
commission
of
was
order.
appointed.
You are
by the
out of
council.
order.
Okay.
The minutes show you that.
Need a
You're
gavel.
wrong. The minutes show you that. Please, go
You
back
continue
before
to
you make a
disrupt this
decision.
meeting,
Go
you'll
back
have
and
to
look.
leave.
okay.
Be thorough like I know you are.
Thank you. Now, if a person has been duly appointed, I don't think we can just say we made a mistake and rescind it. I think we really have to.
Why can't we say we made a mistake?
Maybe.
Everybody
Yeah,
does,
everybody
everybody
does.
does,
Because
everybody does.
every other one is equally wrong and everybody.
Not
dealt with
according
the
to what we
flow
know.
for years.
We can't
The
fix
appointments
yours, Peggy.
didn't come properly, but it's,
You
now you're.
I want to say this,
We
Peggy.
were wrong, we
We
were
were
wrong,
wrong.
we need to fix
what we did
Right.
wrong.
Wrong.
Hey,
You did
hey,
it
are out of order.
Okay.
You did it right. You did it right.
You are out of order.
We'll go to court on it. Fine. I have no problem going to court on it, Dave. I'll spend every last dime I have. I'll sell my damn house to beat you on this.
All right. If you continue, you're gonna have to leave.
I really think that this should be referred to the ordinance committee where we go through the ordinance and meet with our attorney and we discuss the legality of the ordinance in the first place.
And then nothing gets done in town. There are people that have been waiting to do projects. We can't,
For
if
months
we
and
don't
months,
make a decision,
we don't make headway.
nothing gets done this
So is
season.
that, what is the,
That's
what's
okay.
not gonna get done by the HDC?
Well, we have people that want a mini grant. It says right here, in, this is.
They don't grant mini grants.
You are out of order.
They approve.
Keith, would you please ask me to leave?
Okay. It also says on here that, you know, in the ordinance, okay, and this kind of makes me a little crazy too, is it says in here that the historic district committee shall hold, not real, you know, not maybe should hold. They shall hold monthly public meetings at a regularly scheduled time, okay? They should be doing it, you know? And that's not happening, and it's bad for the community. We've got people that have submitted things to the HDC for review, and there's not been a meeting in 3 months, okay? Now, you know, I'm not gonna say we're new at this, but we're new at this, and there was a lot of things that went on years before, and some people were on those councils, and nothing ever got fixed. But now we get new people on the damn council, and I'm gonna use the word damn, and they want us to fix, you know, what's been precedent for years and years and years. What I wanna do today is address what mistakes we made, and if we did something in violation or it was a mistake, I would like to fix it.
But you
Not go back, because we can go back on the whole history of this village. I don't wanna do it.
Okay, well, let's go forward.
Very
Sue Buys, her term ended. She was an at-large member, resident of town. There
We
was
also
no
had two others.
recommendation that came from the HDC, so it was the duty of the president or the pro tem to fill that appointment after 60 days. That's what we did. That was her seat, and it was a resident, he's a resident. You voted 4-0 upon my recommendation that evening. I don't understand what the problem is.
Well, the problem was that there was information that was given to you that should have tipped the council off.
There
of the
was no
problem, and they
information.
never got that information.
Never got it. There was a stack on the table when I came to the meeting, and I don't spend meeting time reading.
Okay, so the council should have had that information. And the fact that whether
What
you
information are you
knew
saying?
that the information was there and didn't give it to them, or you didn't know and didn't give it to them, the point is they didn't have the information that they needed at that time to see to it that the ordinance and its terms were properly pushed through rather than, you know, in
I
violation.
didn't create that agenda. I was put in the position of having to address the topics on the agenda.
Council should have had that information. They didn't have it.
We didn't.
We didn't.
We
Okay.
didn't, but that appointment is as valid as any of the others, and you're questioning just that one because what? For what reason? I don't know, you let everything go with the flow and
There were
everything was
two
good enough to
possibly-
juggle.
On that date, there were 2, possibly 3 at-large members. You can't
There
appoint
was
a
two,
4th one.
yes.
You can't appoint a 4th one.
Well,
And there was a letter to that effect, and the council should have taken that letter into account in making its decision. It didn't have a chance, for whatever reason, to take that into account as it should have had done. And so its action was wrong, it was void, and I think that the council
Oh,
should move and acknowledge that that action was improper, and that it's because it was improper and illegal against the ordinance, it was void.
that letter did not come from the HDC, it came from one individual Chris Green, and it was sent to Joe the night before our meeting, and we said we don't take action, you're supposed to have information 6 days before. So what was on the agenda is what we covered from prior, that was correct. But when I was down at the village the other day, I saw there was minutes from the June 21 HDC meeting. And I had to call because I didn't have page 2. Their meeting never adjourned. Does that mean it's still going on? What do you do when people walk out?
Well, I think that all of that's beside the point.
Can I ask one question here, Peggy? Not to interrupt you, but one question. Well, Dave Walker, according to all the information on 3 different things that I have, he expired the first of this year, okay? Did he attend any HDC meetings from January 1st through May or June? Did he attend any of those meetings? Does anybody know? Do you know, Mr. Green?
Yes.
Yes, he did. So he attended them?
I believe his term expired in the end of 14, and he was reappointed by the council.
For 15?
Blank time in 15.
Okay, that's what I have
And his
here.
term should run through the end of 2017.
Okay, you are correct. I'm looking at this thing, and he's the whole year of 15, the whole year of 16, and the whole year of 17. You're correct. He expires January 1st of 18. So now we have 4 at-large people.
But wait a minute, on this, it says his term ended 2016.
Well, where did you get this from?
Sue Dana.
Okay, well, I've got this right here that Volker was reappointed probably in December of 15, which is 16. It ends 16, it ends like the beginning of 16. And according to this, he's good through 15, 16, 17, and the end of 17. No, actually, I think you're wrong, Mr. Green. I think when they say 2017, they expire the first of that year?
January 1.
Is that January 1?
Don't, isn't it December?
See, I'm
first, and they have-
December of 17?
Yeah.
Because of the ordinance here, it says all terms shall end on January 1. So if January 1 is when it ended, 17 would be he was expired January 1 of this year. This is what the ordinance says.
I base my year, January 1 or December 31.
Right.
I'm saying that Abe Volker's term expired December 31 of 14, and he was reappointed January 1st of 15.
Okay, so all of 15, all of 16, all of 17, because according, well,
If you
the sheet-
read
the
the
sheet- the
ordinance,
sheet
it
here
says
says-
all terms expire January 1.
well, I'm just going by what it says, but you gotta remember.
Yeah, but who
Okay,
did
now, from Sandy, now it says right here,
And
Sandy
who
was,
wrote it and typed it when?
Sandy, is this,
We got that through the HDC, through
For
John
minutes.
Hart was putting
On
names
this
together.
sheet here, it says Volker was recommended in 13
Mhm.
and then appointed in January 14, if you read.
okay,
it
so
there.
it's 14, 15, 16,
His
so
appointment expired.
expires January 1st of 17, according to that, right?
Yeah.
So he very well might be expired. Recommend to village council, Volker, reappointment, ends January 1. It says right here, ends January 1 of 2017 on your minutes. Would you like to see this? Okay, I want to show it to you, just so you understand.
Yep, these HDC minutes or council minutes?
These are, I don't know. I think it's council.
John has put this together, these are supposedly HDC minutes.
Yeah, these are,
But see, I contend what you should be using for the record are the council minutes, because council makes the appointments.
That's
So
right.
go back to the council minutes for January.
So, do we have council minutes on that? When was, do you know, Joe, when Abe Volker was appointed by the council?
But the bottom line is the planning commission and the park still hasn't been asked to make an appointment, and we all know that somebody, they should verify that Dave was the park appointee, or
Apparently he wasn't,
or
according to this.
they should be asked to make one. Nothing's been done, we've
They
talked
they are
about this for
aware,
months.
they are aware that they need to make an appointment.
As of what date?
Stock
How many
C,
days ago?
Stock C has talked with me about it, they know that they have a nominee in the office.
It even says on here, it says, Joseph Mihal, Kevin National Park, it says Bulger at large, Green at large, Buys at large, and then vacant DDA, and that's where Sandy came in.
So Sue Bice, her term was over, we appointed somebody, the ordinance says that we should have, the president should appoint somebody within 60 days. That was neglected. Nate Anderson's name was on the agenda. The letter was read, y'all voted. I think it's as valid as any of the other appointments, but I question whether the ordinance is valid in itself.
Well,
So I think we should refer everything to the ordinance committee before we appoint people to historic district commission that isn't.
Okay, but here's the problem with
Correct.
that, Peggy, okay? I'm not against, I'm on the ordinance committee, I'm not against the ordinance committee looking at it, but I do not have a crystal ball which the HDC has done. I do not have a crystal ball at what the last council has done. I don't know that. I could look at it till I'm blue in the face, okay? The best we can do is, here's a summary of the HDC minutes, and it clearly, if you read the darn thing, says that, it says right here, Volker was reappointed, he ends on January 1st of 2017. Okay, so we have an opening. He was an at-large, we have an opening. Now we have Sandy on DDA. According to this, we've got Dave Green and Anderson at large. That's too many at large. We cannot have too many at large. The last one that was appointed was Mr. Anderson. So, what we need to do to make it right is, we need to rescind that. Now we have two openings, one for the park, one for planning.
I think after
Mr.
somebody's
Anderson and anybody else can put their name in for the park or the planning, and it can go to our president and we can vote on it. That's the only sane thing that I can see. If you have any other suggestions, feel free to bring it up.
Mr.
That's what I said.
Kershaw, really, we can just rescind an appointment, that's correct? Is
if
that
the-
legal?
If the appointment was void, it was no effect from the inception.
But if you
And-
prove
and-
that everything is as void,
And
void,
the council should act to say that it was void because the council did not have the information. He's the most junior at-large member, and so it should not only be Nathan Anderson, but some other at-large member. Well,
No,
we
no.
got two openings. We got
We
an
got two
opening.
openings. We got two
So-
at large and a DDA with,
So basically, who's the other at-large besides?
the at-large would be Dave Geisler and Mr. Green.
Okay. So you
And
have two at-large.
Sandy's DDA, so that's
So,
three. So
yeah.
we got two openings and
Yeah.
they should be park and planning.
Yep.
So if we rescind this because we did it incorrectly, any individuals can feel free to put their name in to be considered for either the park recommendation or the planning. That's the only way to address this. I feel like we've done something wrong and let's just have a duel. I'd like input from everybody else, but we can't solve what's been happening for the last 40 years. I'm not going that
I think
far.
everything was correct according to what the guidelines of the council are, and that you really cannot just rescind, say, whoops, I made a mistake. You can't just say, we didn't do it properly.
You didn't do it properly.
We
If
did
you
it
were-
as properly
you were
as
given a
any-
letter
That
by your
ordinance
guest.
wasn't proper, so why don't you
Well-
want to fix the ordinance before you appoint people to an ordinance that's no longer in
I don't
effect?
know, I don't know, I'm only going by the information I have. I'm trying to make things right, I'm not trying to hassle with anybody.
There is none right now.
Well, then you've got to start with the ordinance.
I don't believe the ordinance is wrong.
We need to move forward.
Yep.
Right, so you either rescind the appointment or you say it's correct. So those are the two motions.
Does the person that made the motion have to rescind it? Yeah,
So the motion should be something like this. The appointment of Nathan Anderson to the Calumet Historic District Commission by the Village Council at its regular meeting held in June 2017, being contrary to the expressed terms of the Historic District Commission ordinance, and therefore contrary to law, I move that the appointment be declared void and that the position be declared vacant. That's the motion.
I do declare we're going to be in big trouble. And if you want to just go down that trail, knowing that the ordinance wasn't properly executed, knowing that the one that requires one from a planning commission is not the restatement that the amendment says it is, and the other one is, the second amendment is also not as good. None of them are fully executed properly, which makes it in force.
The council has the right to revisit its actions and determine for itself whether or not its actions were contrary to law or not, and if contrary to law, to take appropriate steps.
Right, but if we're going forward,
Can I ask you a question, Peggy?
Sure.
Okay, if we agree with what you're saying, that we made the appointment, it has to stick, that would make, we have 4 people on the DDA, or the HDC right now. It would be Sandy from the DDA, and it would be Dave, Mr. Green, and Nathan Anderson at large. So you want to stick with that, which would be a total violation of the historic.
no, the
That was
vacancy
approved by
that
the
was
council.
created wasn't at large that he was appointed to fill.
No.
You can, I mean, now John Arnold, he's got a different memo than the ones that we had, because now there's a problem. So if you look at the paper trail, the appointments didn't come from where they should. Nobody questioned anything until
The
now.
council should have known that it had a problem in June. It did not know. Advice was given to you, sitting at that time. There was a problem.
I disagree, I didn't
And-
get
and-
this one.
And either, if you were aware of it, you didn't tell the council, or you didn't become aware of it. But in either case, the council had critical information that it needed at the June meeting, which it did not have, and it took action without that information. If it had that, and we have this problem here right now as a result, where we've got more folks on the HEC, potentially who are at-large members, and that has to be corrected.
But Dave was on the
And the
part.
obvious way to
No.
correct it is to go back to the most recent time when an error was created.
But because
Created
Joe
and
Niehaus'
undo the error.
position was vacated, then Dave was the replacement for that particular position. So Dave is the part.
But he was reappointed at large, according to this,
But-
in December of
But-
16.
He couldn't have been appointed at large, he was filling an HDC.
Well, I'm just,
keep
I'm
it
just
apart.
reading the page, I'm just reading what
Well,
the.
you can read it.
Okay, how does it hurt for us as a council to publicly state that we thought we were doing the right thing with the information we had, okay? We didn't have good information, okay? The information should have come from the administrator, that letter should have not just gone to Peggy, it should have gone to everybody at this table along with that application. We did not have it, we did not know, okay? So we acted on what we knew
At the time.
at the time, okay? And what we did was a violation of the ordinance and possibly
It's void.
it's void. So what we did was void. So how does it hurt to, make a motion to dissolve that and just start over? If Mr. Anderson wants to be on it, and instead of yelling and hollering and making a fuss, put his name in with either the planning, because now we have 2 positions, and if they choose him, he can be on it, okay? We're being fair to everybody, Peggy. We're trying to make something that we did wrong right. He has every right to put his name in, with the park, with the planning commission, to be on the Historic Society if he wants. If he gets picked, okay, he has that right to do it. We
But
are
he's
not
already
excluding
been
him.
picked and
We
you
did
want
it in
to.
violation of.
But everything was in
rescind it to
violation,
correct
the ordinance is in violation.
The ordinance is not in violation. Is our
Well-
ordinance a violation?
If it isn't fully
The
executed,
ordinance
it sure
was,
is.
adopted by the entire council.
So it's not a violation.
We should rescind because we didn't know the actual facts.
We did not have the facts. We acted on bad information. And
So
we
I
just
think that's
need
a reason to rescind.
I do too. What is your feeling? Let's go around the table and find out what their feeling is. Sandy?
I think we need to do over, we rescind that motion and reapply for those seats. So we
That's
can
what I
move
would do
on.
also.
Jim, what is your feeling on this?
Reading through the documents here, I see several things, that there's been 3 at-larges,
Mm-hmm.
which was the original one.
Mm-hmm.
If truly in fact that Dave, Mr. Green, and Mr. Anderson are the 3 at-larges, we either stand by what we had before with 3 at-larges, with the original ordinance, or we go by the applied ordinances, and I think we should wipe everybody out except for the representative from the DDA by looking at the information here and start over, because it's an all or nothing.
That's
We
all
either
I
get rid of
feel.
all of it and start over and do it right, and have it written down, or we let it stand with 3 at-larges and an open seat.
So in other words, we're rescinding it then, Jim?
I
Standing on it,
think
right?
the trick is we either need to wipe out the whole board because they're all in question by several different documents, or we need to let it stand with 3 at-large seats and 1 open seat.
I think we need to refer to the ordinance committee and the village attorney because there's many issues here that I think we cannot hammer out because we don't have all the documents in front of us. And if after someone has been duly appointed in the same manner as everybody else that was duly appointed, but you decided that that individual is not desirable to be on the board, and so now it's a big
I take
issue.
offense to that, Peggy, because I was the one that acted on the information was
But
given. So
now-
I take offense to that, okay?
Here's another
But
option.
I take offense that you want to have somebody that you appointed off the board. For what reason? He built something.
Here's another option
Listen to him.
along the lines of what Jim is saying.
Mhm.
The president may, with the approval of the council, remove any officer appointed by the council when the president considers it in the public interest. So the president could remove the entire HDC board, or the entire HDC board except Sandy, and with the approval of the council, that would stand. It's clear, the statute is in the general law.
But the president can't do anything if he's on the board. There'd be a, he
Is that written?
No,
Is that written?
no.
Listen to our.
For one thing, he, by making the motion, for example, he would be recommending his own removal to start over. So, I mean, there's no conflict there. The president may, with the approval of the council, remove any officer appointed by the council when the president considers it in the public interest. There certainly is a public interest here in getting this right.
Absolutely, but I think you have to have cause. You cannot just say.
No.
Everything we do, there has to be cause. Absolutely.
If the president deems it to be in the public interest, the president can remove any officer appointed by the council as long as the council goes along with it. So if Dave Geisler says A, B, C, and D are off the HDC because we have questions about the validity of their appointment, and it's in the public interest to solve this problem by starting over again, and if the council says, amen, we're for that, we approve your decision to remove these officers, that's the end of it. And you can't, there are no arguments about ordinances, there's no argument about timing. All that stuff is out of bounds because This is the statute takes
But it's-
precedence over ordinances, over everything that the council has done.
All right, then
But if you
then
have-
I would suggest in public interest, that
Mm-hmm.
myself, Chris Green, and Nathan be removed, and only Sandy remain on the HDC, and, excuse me, and the process begin again.
A bill course not on here.
Right,
He's
because that's
expired.
what it is,
He's
expired,
expired.
right,
He's
so it's only
expired.
the three. So it's only the three, so that is my proposal, so, again,
So if what you're saying is those folks are removed.
correct,
I made that decision, they're removed.
yes, with the approval of the council.
Now, if the council approves, they're removed.
Okay.
All right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm definitely opposed because we're violating the law. What is the cause for removing the board? Have they done anything in violation?
It has
of-
nothing to do with what they've done or they haven't done.
I think the
If it's in
president
the
has some
public interest
authority.
to take this action,
Well, that's-
it's completely
Yeah,
in the
and
interest
again,
of
it's moving.
The motion
president and
has
the
been
council.
made and adopted, so the next thing is, if there is nothing else, to adjourn the meeting.
I have one more thing.
Yeah,
We have a regular council meeting a week from Tuesday, okay? I would like to see whatever process it takes to post it, do whatever, to get the names, anybody that would like to apply for these positions, because Sandy is DDA, and post it that, you know, have the national, get ahold of the national park, have them submit somebody planning, submit somebody, and then, two at large, and they can submit their names, so on the next meeting, we could actually look at these and get something done for the people of this village. Okay, can we do that? Is there any kind of, like, do we have to post it for X amount of days, this and that, or can we just,
I mean, we
put up a
traditionally put
notice?
a notice in the village
Okay, can
hall
we do
doors,
that?
and we usually put one in the township.
But the, but the
remember
party
that
planning,
the folks who are interested in the position can apply to the village
Right.
president for appointment as at large,
Sure.
and can go to the other two entities as well, and ask to be nominated by them,
Right.
so.
and we'd like to have those candidates in by, say the Monday before our meeting, and that way we can start moving forward here. And I think that was a good idea, Jim,
Yeah.
and Mr. Church's idea to just wipe the slate and let's try to do things right from
Yeah.
now on. But, you
And we've been
know,
fine the other way with 3 at-larges by historical purposes, but
but if we're gonna start making things right, we've gotta start making things right.
Yeah, and the virtue of what you've just done is, by wiping the slate clean, all these arguments about what's happened in the past and so on, they're gone, it's done. And nobody can argue about that whatsoever. You're acting on the basis of a state statute, and it's absolutely clear that you can do that. Nobody's got an argument to the contrary.
Okay.
Very good.
If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll support.
Any? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
This, I think if you look up this, yeah, this applies to not like county and village jurisdiction, so this is the state of Michigan that they say.
No, it says municipal
Where
employees.
does it say that?
Maybe not in this letter, but on that
Because
website.
I'm gonna look up the
Yeah,
website,
go to
because
that
it doesn't
website.
say.
That's information that we need to.
What is it? Okay, tell me what this is
Yeah.
here. Why do I have that?
Oh, because that was on the internet, and I thought that's interesting. Kind of,